All right, so I'm assuming people are coming in very slowly. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. I don't know what time it is, wherever you are. Maybe just to help us with that, if you could put in the chat box where you're joining us from today, that would be really, really good. Because I'm sure we have like a variety of people attending today's session. So please, if you can put in the country you're joining us from, that would be absolutely amazing. So welcome, welcome, welcome again. It's exciting to see everyone. So I can see Uganda. That's awesome, wonderful. Nigeria. Someone said Nigeria. Sadly, why is it sadly? Come on, come on, Fisaya, liven up. Don't say sadly. So there's South Sudan. That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's morning here where we are in Vancouver, Canada. It's just 9:30 in the morning here. Uganda. Oh, we even have someone from the US. That's amazing. That's wonderful. All right, so we can keep that coming. We'll just go ahead and start the session. I'm sure more people are still going to be joining. Ethiopia. I actually spoke to one of our scholars this morning who is from Ethiopia. He's currently with the current cohort. Amazing young man. All right, so I'll just go ahead and start with the introductions, and then we can go ahead with the presentation this morning. So my name is Toyosi Bamboye. I am the program advisor for the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program here at UBC. We also have our special director on the Zoom with us this morning by Shanda Williams. And I'm also going to be allowing our wonderful manager introduce herself as well. You can go ahead, Abby.
Everyone, my name is Abby Edu. I'm the program manager for the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program at UBC. Welcome everyone onto this call today.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Abby. So we'll go ahead with the presentation. So just a few housekeeping before we start. This presentation is being recorded just to let everybody know. We would highly appreciate if everyone could stay muted. There's going to be time for questions after the presentation. Please keep your videos off as well throughout the presentation because it's being recorded. You may use the chat box if anyone has any burning or lingering questions while the presentation is going on. And if possible, we can attend to it as the questions come in, or we could wait until the very end to attend to that. And as I mentioned, please, there's going to be time to answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. And if you're having any trouble hearing us, please, you can exit the Zoom and then rejoin. You know, technology sometimes can be very funny. So our agenda for this presentation this morning, we're going to be talking about the land acknowledgement, an overview of UBC, and Abby is going to be going into a little bit more detail about the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program here at UBC. All right, so we're going to start with land acknowledgement. So land acknowledgement is actually very significant in Canada. I'm sure many of you who have friends in Canada must have heard about this, but it's so important for us to do land acknowledgements because of the history of some of the things that have happened in Canada. So UBC's Vancouver campus, which is where I'm, hosting this presentation this morning, is situated on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Musqueam people. Would also like to recognize that you may be joining us today from many places near and far, and it's so important to acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of this land as we continue. And I'm sure, I always encourage students who, most especially international students who eventually come to Canada, to take some time to learn about the history. Canada has a very interesting history that I think every international student should be aware of. So please, for those of you who would eventually join us, please do take some time to learn about the history of Canada. So just an overview of UBC. So UBC is a global center for teaching, learning, and research. It's consistently ranked among the top public universities in the world. And one of our visions, as an institution, is to inspire people and ideas and actions for a better world. And as you can see from this slide, UBC is a very diverse university. We have people from all over the world, not just students, but also faculty and staff as well. Most of our scholars are going to be studying at the Vancouver campus, which is one of our bigger campuses. So we have two campuses. We have one in Vancouver here, and the other one is in Kelowna. But most of our scholars study here in Vancouver. So UBC also has a high amount of international graduate students, which I think should be something to excite many of you, because then you're going to be meeting with people from all over the world, and also, connecting with them as well, expanding your social networks. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves with at UBC is the amount of support that we give to our students, right? So we have support ranging from career services, we have clubs, we have counseling. We also have our office here as well. So myself, Abhi, Shanda, we have an amazing team here. And one of our biggest things is to look after our scholars and ensure that they are succeeding, not just while they are studying here, but even post-graduation as well. On-campus housing is available for our graduate students. So it's not just for undergrads, which I think is also an amazing opportunity for students not to worry about, looking for housing off campus. So now to our Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program here at UBC. So the program is fully funded by Mastercard, and one of its goals is to develop transformational leaders on the African continent. So we are going into our phase 2 currently, which is the next 10 years. So the previous 10 years was the phase 1 of the program. So we're going into the phase 2 right now. This is the first year of phase 2. And the goal is to support about 351 more scholars over the next 9 years, I would say, since we're already in year 1. So the focus for the phase 2 of the foundation is going to be around the faculties listed. So it's forestry, agriculture, water, and land management. So it's an exciting opportunity for those who are interested in those areas, because those areas are areas that are developing not just in Africa, but all over the world as well. And one of the amazing things about the scholarship is that it is fully comprehensive, which means that starting from when you're applying to when you get here, everything is fully covered. And I think it's a unique opportunity for students. So our applications are currently opened. They opened on August 31st, and they're going to be closing pretty soon. So many of you would need to start acting fast if you haven't started already. All right, so now I'm going to be passing it over to Abby to continue on with the presentation.
Thanks, Toyosi. And for those on the call, I wanted to share that I'm going to run through this quickly because I want a few scholars who we have on the call to actually share their own experiences with you as well. And I think that would be valuable as you round up your applications. You saw on the other slide that the deadline is October 31st, but please don't wait till October 31st to submit your application because, people are in different time zones. In the past, we've had issues where, folks would be like, we did everything, we were waiting till the deadline to, submit it. And I was in GMT, but apparently the 31st was for PST, those sort of things. And then you basically lose out. So don't wait till the deadline. But I'm quickly going to run through what the scholarship admissions criteria. So the first one is you need to have a bachelor's degree. Scholarship within this phase is for folks within the graduate level. And when I say graduate level, I mean master's level. And so the minimum requirement is to have a bachelor's degree. You must not have already graduated with a master's or PhD degree, because the essence of the scholarship is to provide the opportunity for folks to actually have a graduate level certification or degree. And so if you have a master's, PhD, you're not eligible to apply. You should be 35 years or younger at the time of application. Now, with this, a lot of people would be like, I would turn 35. Ask yourself, are you 35 or younger at the time of application? If the answer is yes, you can go ahead and apply. You should also be a citizen or refugee of an African country, and someone who requires a study permit to study in Canada. So if you are in Canada and have a permanent residence, you are not eligible to apply, even if you are a citizen or refugee of an African country. You must not be a person who will claim asylum or protected person status after arriving in Canada. And so the scholarship essentially is for folks who need study permits. At the port of entry, you shouldn't be claiming asylum, because that means you are risking your ability to actually study in the program. You should also be applying for a graduate degree in one of our programs, and I will get on to our programs shortly. But applications are especially welcome from women, persons with disability, and persons from refugee and displaced background. So what programs are we offering? So as Toyosi was going through, he mentioned that we're actually accepting applications from specific programs with a specific focus on, sustainability, land, agriculture. So these are the programs that we are offering. Now, sometimes folks will say, or someone will send an email asking, do you offer scholarship to A, B, and C program? If it's not here, it's not part of the programs we're offering for. So within the Faculty of Forestry, we are offering 4 programs: the Master of Sustainable Forest Management, the Master of International Forestry, the MGEM program, which is the Master of Geomatics for Environmental Management, and the Master of Science in Forestry, which is thesis-based. To know who qualifies for each of these programs, I would advise that you go to the Faculty of Forestry website, look at the requirements, check whether you are eligible, and then you apply, selecting one of these programs. Now, same for the Faculty of Science. Within the Faculty of Science, our scholarship only covers the Master of Data Science. So once again, if you want to know what sort of prerequisites you need to actually be eligible for a Master of Data Science, go to their website and then check. Then finally, we also have the Faculty of Land and Food Systems. For the Land and Food Systems, we offer scholarship for 3 programs: the Master of Food and Resource Economics, Master of Food Science, and Master of Land and Water Systems. Now, all these programs, if you go to their website, you will realize are professional programs, except for the Master of Science in Forestry, which is a 2-year thesis-based research program. And so for all these programs, they have an experiential learning or capstone project, and they last between 8 months to 12 months, which is the maximum is a year for the programs. And so, as said, it's a professional program, and they are all offered in English. And so if you studied in a place that isn't necessarily an English-speaking country, or you received your bachelor's degree in a language other than English, you might be required to provide English test results. So what is the academic admission criteria? So the minimum you need is, as I said, to have to have a bachelor's, but also you should have completed a study area that aligns with what the program needs. At least according to graduate and postdoctoral studies, you need at least a second class upper division to be eligible for a scholarship. So first class and second class upper. If you have anything below second class, you might not be considered. But once again, some folks would take their chances, and that's also okay. You may need to provide language proficiency exam, as I said, especially if you're coming from a non-English speaking country or you studied in another language other than English. You would need academic or character references. Now, these references should be from people who should be able to speak to your leadership, your ability to, your community engagement, and your ability to actually work in teams. And so make sure that if you're giving a reference letter, some of these topics are spoken about. Now, a lot of people have also asked, should we submit the reference letters over email, or the best is to submit it with your application? That is because it makes it easier for whoever is reviewing your application to be able to review it and not miss it. Now, if your referee sends the admission letter later than October 31st, your admission will not be considered, which is why it is essential for you to get the admission, the referee letter, and actually upload it and submit your application as one package instead of allowing them to send it by themselves. So what is the admission timeline? We talked about it. It closes October 31st at 11:59 PST, which is the Pacific time. And so if you are in any time zone, once again, my advice is don't wait till October 31st to submit it, because it might be too late for you. So the processes are as follows. Number one, you go to our website. You can go through what documents you need, go through the application process, read and get an overview of what is required to submit an application. Try to understand the process, review profiles of scholars, alum, etc., before you actually go into the process of submitting an application, because it gives you a broader understanding of what is required. Step two, after you've reviewed everything, you can actually submit your application. Once you submit your application, if you make it for round one, you would receive an email from us after the deadline of October 31st. You receive an email with a fee waiver code to apply to the program you stated within your scholarship application that you wanted to apply to. So let's say I said I wanted to apply to the Master of Food and Resource Economics, MFRE. After I submit my application, I would receive a fee waiver code. So you need to submit your application to the scholarship first. If you submit your application to the program, you wouldn't get a fee waiver code. You would have to pay the fee, the application fee. But if you submit first, you make it to round one, you receive a fee waiver code telling you to apply to, in my case, MFRE. Now, after I apply to MFRE, they would also review, and then if I make it to the next round, I would receive another email telling me or inviting me to a video interview. So that would be the second round. Now, if you don't receive anything from us after round one, it means you didn't make it to the next round. If once again you don't receive an invitation for a video interview, it means you didn't make it to the next round. Now, after the video interview, the scholarship application panel would review, and the final list will receive an offer for the next winter term. The offer would go out to 39 scholars. So there are so many people applying from so many places. In some years, we receive 5,000 applications, but only 39. And I'm emphasizing this so that you put your best foot forward and submit a really good application. So to learn more, visit our website. Once again, don't submit an application without reviewing our website. Number two, don't let ChatGPT write your whatever the prompts you are answering for you. We've seen a lot of those where some people are even making mistakes with as basic as the university name. When you do that, it becomes so obvious. Like imagine 5,000 people are submitting. You make it very easy for us to, let your application out. So please and please again, make sure you are reviewing everything and putting in a good application. Visit our website. Every question you want answered, I will tell you the answer is there. Go through our website, the frequently asked question, some of the current scholars, alum, who we are, what the vision of the scholarship, and just get a good understanding of what the scholarship is about. So we would be taking questions, but before the questions, I promised you we have 3 scholars. And so Chinazam, Ayi and Edwin, if you're here, you can unmute. I'm just gonna pin you so that we can have a discussion from here. Oh, hang on. Oh, add pin and then Franklin. Okay, great. So we have Chinazam, Edwin, and Franklin, and each of you feel free to share what program you are doing, what the process was for you applying, what made you successful, and how you are finding your program so far. So who wants to start first? Chinazam is unmuted, so I think I'm gonna go with Chinazam. Feel free to, or if they say ladies first, or unless you want to also nominate someone to start, it's all up to you. Go ahead.
Sure, I can start. My name is Chinagam Njoku. I'm currently in the Masters of International Forestry program. I have an undergraduate degree in forestry and wildlife management. So like you all know, I applied and I got selected by God's grace. And so far, it's been good, Okay, let me start with the application process. For me, I basically just told my story in the clearest way possible. I ensured that I was as articulate as I could so that I would, be able to relate to the examiner in a way that they would easily understand where I'm coming from. I tried to arrange all my documents properly. When it got to the interview stage, I tried to speak confidently and pass my message across, to increase my chances of being picked. And I was picked. And so far with the program, it's been good. It's been a little bit intense, but we're passing through it, and it's been good so far. I'm very grateful to be here.
Saying what program are you reading and maybe what country?
Sorry?
What program are you reading?
I'm studying international forestry. That's the MIF program, and I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, so we'll probably come to the questions, but I want to move on to Edwin. So Edwin, you can share what program you're reading and, what the process was like for you as well.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Abby, and yeah, I can see Shanda. Yeah, yes, I think my name is Edwin Aluku, and then I am from Ghana. I'm reading the Master of International Forestry. Yes, first on, I want to tell you that the fact that you have already joined this info session tells you that you are a step ahead and that most likely you'll be seeing here very soon. Yes, I would also say that my time when I applied last year, that was my first time of applying for any international scholarship. And so it was quite new. But then what I did was to go online, read a lot about how to write these scholarship essays. talk with a lot of people who have already been through the process, get to learn about what is really necessary. Because there's really a difference between writing an essay in class and writing one for a scholarship. And so, yes, you might have just completed. There's a vast difference. And for some of you, you may have applied for maybe a year or two, and then this is another time for you to apply. What I would say is that you have to also rely on yourself very well. Yes, because I think when I actually got my CV done, I sent it to someone to review it for me. I texted the person about 8 messages. You wouldn't believe the person actually replied to me after I'd gotten the scholarship. So yes, most of you right now are reaching out to people to help you review your essays, and they are not replying to you. Myself, a lot of people have reached out to me, and I also have a lot of academic work. So at times it could be difficult to actually get the attention and then help, but we are doing our best. But then you have to really rely on yourself. What I did was to review my essays continuously, because I was done with the essays for about, say, 3 weeks to the deadline, and I wasn't in a haste to submit them. There are no extra marks or extra points for anyone who submits 3 weeks to the deadline. I'm not saying you should submit late, but really take your time, go through them. When you wake up in the morning, you can decide to open them, go through them. It's possible you will see a mistake that you can correct. So yes, that's one thing you have to also prioritize. What I would say is that your CVs and your essays, they must speak to you, who you are, your personality. Because the reality is, we do not know you. Those reviewing your essays, they don't know you. You may be a good student. How do we get to know you are really that person if your essays do not speak to who you are? And so you have to put your right essays out there. Let them speak to your personality. And ChatGPT is not going to do that work for you. It doesn't know you. It can't relate to your story. It is your story. Tell your story as it is. And I think they are looking for people who have authentic messages. I have seen other scholars here who also had the same story like mine. They never got people to review their essays for them. They wrote and they submitted based on their own efforts. And so, yes, they are looking for authentic messages, your storytelling, who you are, your journey, and, just get that done. And I think, yeah, a step ahead. Yes. And one thing I'll also say is that you may have extracurricular activities and things like that. At times, people go the extra mile, you may have done a lot of things, but there's a thin line between trying to say a lot and then really explaining what you have done in one session. Let them know your impact in whatever activity you took part in. You have read essays of people who are trying to tell me a whole lot about what they have done, but I don't really see the impact of even one project that you have participated in. So yes, you have to get that message across. Even if there are two activities, one, get the real details across. Let us know, let them know what you carry, your capacity and things like that. And one important aspect is I read a real estate program at my undergraduate level. But right now I'm reading Masters of International Forestry. You could see the difference. It does not really matter what your BSc was in. I mean, a BSc is a starting point. What is necessary is to be able to relate your passion with what you have done to where you want to get you and to what you want to pursue. Get that message across, relate it to your story and everything you have done over the years. And I think you stand a perfect chance, because currently in the Masters of International Forestry, we have a lot of people. I even have a lawyer in my class, a lawyer. We have a journalist here who is doing international forestry. So yes, it doesn't really, put a lot of effort on that. So you are still qualified to apply for that program. Relate your story very well and put out the right messages. And one thing that maybe I'm speaking a lot, but yes, let me just add this up. You may have been the best student in your class, right? Or even the best students in your department, your school. It is the same way a lot of people too were the best students in their schools, their colleges, and their countries. You are not the only brilliant student we have seen. And you are not the only one who is poor. Please take notice. All those applying for the scholarship, somehow, some way, we all do not get it. We all do not get that financial assistance to get us through. But beyond these things, who are you? Get that story across. You know, you don't have to be emphasizing that I am poor, I am poor. It's not a begging system whereby I have to keep begging. I am poor if you don't help. Yes, so yes, we all are at that level. So just know that everyone applying to the scholarship already is at that requirement of not having the financial ability. So you don't have to overstress it. And then and then yes, so get these messages across. It's just simple like that. You are not the only best students. Make sure you get your best tips across. If you rely on the fact that you have a first class, you are best what, you'll be surprised at the end of the day you wouldn't get it. Yes, because we are here and we have seen what people carry. People really have a lot of qualities, and all those who have been selected this year, they are really up there. And so if your game is not up there, you're not going to be selected. I have to be real with you. Yes, and so far about the master's program, I think I would like just, about the master's program, it has really been engaging, and it has been a program that I am really interested in. And the fact that you get to connect with people from various backgrounds, various places, and do not really be deceived. International forestry is not really all that's about forestry. There's a lot more to it. If you get here, you will love it. People see forestry and they think, oh, maybe I did a program in this, I don't really want forestry. Come on. When you get here, you will like it. So yes, put in your best essays. You are not the only best guy, you are not the only poor guy. These are my messages, and I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Thanks, Edwin. So I think the resounding message is beyond, that academic excellence, beyond the financial constraints. Who are you? What is your story? What is the impact? And carry that across. And then Chinazam has also talked about like telling your story through the essay. So you can see that that is one big part we look at, because trust me, like everyone, like you look at application, everyone is getting a first class or second class upper. So then what moves the needle will now be like how authentic your story is. So thanks, Chinazam and Edwin, for sharing that. I'm going to move on to Franklin. Franklin, you can unmute, tell us about yourself, the program, your experience, anything you want to share with the prospective scholars on the call.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Franklin Ayi, and I'm pursuing the Master of Data Science here at UBC. I'm also from Ghana. I'm also from Ghana, like Edwin. And I'm sorry if you've reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I've not entirely been helpful. I've been busy a lot. I can't review your essays. I can't review your CV. I can only give you tips, like, something to keep you going. And unfortunately for me, I saw the link to apply 6 days before the deadline. But you guys are here, so you don't have to go through that the stress and being fast and everything. And that's the thing about the program. They give you the chance, they give everyone the chance to apply, and I think that is great. I think what helped me the most was like I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, so it was easy for me to kind of like write my life down in the essays. What made me successful? I think, of course, God made me successful, and also perseverance and hard work. And I believe the committee, they see these kind of qualities in your essays, it reflects in your essays and your overall application. My experience in the program so far, it's been fast-paced, it's been tough. But people have gone through it, people are going through it, and yeah, the professors are welcoming, and they're also like open to your questions, and there's always so much to do. Yeah, and combining school and work, I think same thing. People have done it before. It's not new. It's all about managing your time perfectly and just enjoying the experience. And one thing I'll say is that sorry, you should kind of put in emotions, in your essays. It shouldn't be just I've done this, I've done that. Put in a little bit of emotion. Let the person reading your application be inspired by your whole life. I think that is very, very important. And also give them numbers. If you've done some community engagement, give them how many people you impacted, how many things, like give them numbers, give them percentages, give them something they can use and inspire the person looking at your application, and you'll be fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So there's been a few questions in there, and I'm going to throw a few questions before I let you all off the hook. As they were saying, it's a very rigorous program. It's 8 to 12 months. Like you would just like be catching yourself, like catch your breath, and then it's the end. UBC is really fast paced, like they said. And so if you're coming, you have to be ready. The cohort we brought this year, it's amazing, just, how strong and well-rounded and how unique each one of them are. And we're hoping to keep bringing, cohorts, like every cohort would have its unique abilities. And that's what's wonderful about this scholarship. So there are a few questions. The first one is about resume. What are some of best practices, or like what would you advise when it comes to resumes, CVs? Did any of you do anything on your resume that you felt made your resume stand out? And feel free to unmute.
Yes. Okay. So I think I'll just answer that briefly. Your resume, it should actually be very concise, straight to the point. You see, ask yourself, when you're reading your slides, at times you feel lazy reading them, right? Imagine someone reading through something like this, and at times someone can just read just the first part, and the person most likely is not going through again. I can see some people send me some things. I just go through the first stage and I already know that, yeah, it's not up there. Meanwhile, maybe your story is down there, I don't know, but very concise to the point. It's just a CV, right? You don't have to really go deep. And to me, I would say that at every given, say maybe a leadership role that you have held, I would say limit yourself to 2 bulletin points, 2 bullets, like just make them 2, straight to the point, what you did, or maybe how you did whatever you did, or maybe what's the impact you created in that particular scenario. You don't have to go around saying, I was this. And some people at times, you write you get a CV across and there are questions in the things that you did. Maybe you said, I was in charge of maybe financial something. Like how? What did you do? You were in charge of financial what? I mean, people want to see details, what you did. Maybe so list the particular thing that you did while you were in that particular position. And I also think that get them into subheadings, the right subheadings. I would advise that you have probably, if you have teaching and research experience, you have that up there, usually based on the top priorities. You have your education, you have teaching and your research experience, you have your leadership qualities, you have your volunteering roles, you have your work experience, you have maybe some other certifications that you have acquired, things like these, just get them straight to the point. And for number of pages, when I was doing I was advised that it should be 2, and other schools usually restrict it to 2. But some way, somehow, I had 3 pages. Yes. So I'm not saying, maybe you just have to restrict it to 2, but I don't know. But you can also decide to get 3. Maybe something in my first page led the person to read through to the 3rd page. I don't know, but you may not be that lucky. So thank you.
Yeah, and something else I'd like to add is try to arrange your CV in order of the things that you have done. Make it very clear, use very clear terms. You don't want to, I've seen a CV that looked like it was written by ChatGPT because it was looking so ambiguous. So try to use very clear terms. Like you said, be concise. Pass your point. I did this at so. This was what I did so year. Arrange it very well. Package your CV. I mean, market yourself very well through your CV. Sometimes some people try to be humble in their CV. No, be very proud in your CV. Talk about the things you have done in very clear terms and make it very short, not too long, not too boring, but very interesting to look at. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Hello, Abby, can I come in?
Yeah.
All right. And I think I'll say two things with regards to the CV. Make sure the CV looks nice, it's structured. The justification, the indentation, everything is structured. And also include links. So if you have a certificate from somewhere, maybe Harvard or something, online certificates from Coursera, include a hyperlink, a clickable text, that can show the person looking at CV that, oh, you actually did what you did. So I think that will push you way ahead. Thanks.
And sorry, one more thing. If you have publications that you have written, you can also include it to your CV. You can put links to, if you have published it, you can put links to where you wrote your, maybe a publication, a research work that you have done. You can include that to your CV. Yeah, I know I did that.
Okay, I have one question, but if you have any specific question for these scholars, I have a few minutes with them before I know they have to run to class. Please put them in the chat and then I'll take just one. So let it come. Maybe you'll be the lucky one to get your question answered. But I have two questions. One will be my last question and then you're off the hook. But this one is on the video. Best practices, what did you do? How was your experience doing the video interview? Anything anyone wants to share? Because sometimes for a lot of prospective scholars, that is the daunting part. So how did you go about it? What was your experience? Franklin, you can start.
All right. I think for me, I practiced a lot. I recorded myself on my screen. I still have all the videos of me recording myself. I made mistakes, so many mistakes. Yeah, so I think you have to practice what you see, at least some things you see, some things you think you feel you want to get across, practices, and you'll be fine. Thanks.
Chinazam, I see you smiling, so I feel like you have something to say.
Okay, work on your confidence level, especially in your interview. You might be nervous. They expect you to be nervous, but they don't have to know that you're nervous. You understand? So, like you said, practice before you take the interview. Practice very well. But even before the interview, you're going to have to write your application to the school. You want to get picked by them also. So you have to prepare for that. Then when you get to the interview stage, practice very well, work on your confidence level, and just do your thing. Yeah.
Okay. So my last question to all of you. Oh, Edwin, you want to add on?
Yes, I will just add this. For my interview, I actually prepared before time, but then the questions that I saw there were questions I never expected. Yes, and before that, I was really nervous. I was thinking about it. Would I really get through? What happens after this stage? And someone told me something. He said, see it that the fact that you have gotten to the interview stage, you have been selected, you have been awarded a scholarship. So that was what I went into the interview with. That was my mindset. I've been selected. So yes, I'm going to finish it out. So yes, even when I was having the interview, people walked into the room and I was almost distracted, but I was like, nah, there's no turning point at this stage. So yes, when you get there, remember this, you have been selected already. You have qualified already. So kill it.
That's a good mindset to have. Last question. What was it like receiving the offer? Where were you? Well, tell us. Those stories always amaze me because those are the fun. And I feel like that might inspire some folks. What was the feeling like getting called? I don't know who called you? Where were you? How were you feeling? Who wants to start with this question?
Oh my God. I'm still reliving the moments in my head. Okay, like Edwin said, it was also my first scholarship ever. I was just leaving university. So I just decided to give this a shot. And whenever I give something a shot, I just do it with all my heart. I never thought I was going to get picked. So when I got the call, I was all over, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. It was like a dream come true. Oh my God, these people saw me worthy. And I believe this could be the same thing for you too. You can get picked. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that day I was still at work. I had not gone home, and Ghana time, I think that was about 10 p.m. or so. Yes, I was just there and I got a call that I've been selected. Like, I was just on the call, like, I was just speechless. Like, actually, I didn't know what to do. Should I jump? Should I, like, when you work for something and it finally comes, like, and I was thinking, like, all of Africa, like, I mean, like I've been selected among, like, oh, so yeah, it was a nice experience. Anytime I think about it, like, I was so happy. I remember I called my mom and she was like, "You've been selected for a scholarship and you're not shouting." I'm like, if you enter my heart, you know that I'm really jumping there. Yeah, so yes, I mean, it's a nice experience, yeah.
And finally, Franklin.
Shanda doesn't know this, but I dance with my mom. So we were dancing. On the call, she didn't see, I didn't shout, I didn't say anything, but inside I was feeling something. So I went to dance with my mom and we celebrated. Yeah, I just wanted Shanda to be that and everyone else.
Franklin, was it Shanda that called you?
Yeah, it was Shanda. It was Shanda.
Oh, so
Yeah.
okay, that's interesting. That's good to know. Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing. We will round up. Thank you so much for joining and for taking time. I know the programs are like busy, but you took time to really share this. And for anyone on the call, this could be, your opportunity as well. But I also wanted to share when I got my scholarship some years back because I also came in as a Mastercard Foundation Scholar. So I was getting home. I was in a trotro. For those in Ghana, trotro. Maybe if you're in Nigeria, it's if you are in Uganda, it's like your motorbikes or like whatever easy way to move around is the buses or bus in Nigeria. Like I was in a trotro and then I checked on my phone. I saw an email from the dean of business school because I did my MBA, and they were like, let us know when it is a good time to call you. So I thought, it was an interview or something. I replied that, let me get home and then I will let you know, because I wanted to dress well if it's a second interview. So I got home, took my best suit again, put it on, sat on a chair, and then he called and he was like really relaxed in his chair and he was like, we really liked your application. You've been awarded. And then I just said, okay, because I didn't know what to say. Like I was out of words. And he was like, just okay. Are you not excited? I'm like, you have no idea. I'm excited. I just don't know how to show it. And usually that's, how you feel but once again, off the call, I was like jumping, jubilating. I think that day I didn't even eat in the house. I said, I beg, let me go get pizza, and eat. I have earned it. But yeah, it's a life-changing moment, and I think it's an opportunity to really get that recognition for all the work you've been doing to this point, because we know that for scholars coming into the program, they are transformative leaders. You are doing things within your community. You're changing lives, even with, whatever challenges and financial situations. You still don't think about yourself. You are a servant leader. You are thinking about others. You are putting others at the forefront. You want to change a problem within your community. And that's what, being a Mastercard Foundation Scholar here at UBC is all about. So go out there, put your best foot forward, put in everything. And as Edwin said, think that you've already gotten it and have that mindset as you apply. Have a good story, and maybe you'll be dancing like Franklin, or, you'll be jumping like Chinazam. But thanks so much, folks, for joining us. I don't know if there are any more questions, but three of you are free to go. You can also hang on the call if that's okay. So any questions in the chat as we round up? I'm gonna check and then
Yeah, so there's a few questions, Abby. I think one of the questions that I've been noticing, one of them is about recommendation letters. Some people are asking, should it be professional? Does it have to be academic? Like, is there like preference? So yeah, that's one of the questions I've noticed.
Recommendation letter can be academic, it can be professional, it can be from wherever you're volunteering. I would say it's more about the content of the recommendation letter. There's some recommendation letter that just will say, this person completed this school, and that's it. That doesn't speak to your leadership abilities. You know, you need a recommendation letter. Find someone who knows you, can give you a character reference, can talk about how good you are, what you've accomplished, your leadership skills in that recommendation letter. So for example, when I was applying, I used one from work where they didn't just talk about, I realized they could talk about how I had excelled in my role, become, the best employee at some point, like all those things that make me stand out at work. And I used one from an organization I was volunteering with as a leader, as a community builder. So find some of those recommendation letter. You can also use academic because we recognize people are, just getting out of school. But if you do, don't let it just be about the academics. Let them talk about other things you've done in the community as well. I see Shanda's hand up.
I just wanted to add very quickly as well, regarding recommendation letters. Please note that a recommendation letter is not a letter that just confirms that you studied in English, because I've seen a lot of applications where both recommendation letter that the person submitted are simply letters from the registrar saying that the individual language instruction was English for their degree. So that doesn't give us any context about you and who you are, what you've done. And of course, that means that that person would not be considered for the application because there's no information there that we can pull from. So just as a point, just to make sure that like Abby was saying, your recommendation letter speaks to your academic experience, your volunteerism, work that you've done, anything that you've done that you think is going to make you an attractive applicant to the scholarship.
Any more questions do you see from the chat?
Yeah, no. A few people are asking about, I think Shonda answered it as well, like incomplete transcripts. I think someone had mentioned that their university was on strike and they can't access their transcript. But I think Shonda answered that. The other question people have been asking a lot is submitting the application by mistake. Can they resubmit with the same email and things like that as well?
Abby, we're not hearing you. I think you're.
Can you hear me?
Can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you now.
Yeah, I was saying the quick answer is if you made a mistake and submitted, you made something, resubmit. But the long answer is reduce those occurrences. Because just imagine the person is reviewing, they see it, they cross you out, they see it again. They would say, oh, this person, again, they didn't submit it well. Just make sure that you're reviewing everything before submitting. If you can, let's reduce, oh, I submitted by mistake, and put in one perfect, strong application so that when the person is reviewing, they know that this is it, this is you. It's okay to resubmit, but then, it also has its pros and it has its pros because, we'll see another application, but sometimes because of the volumes, you are wearing the applicant out. Make it easy for them to make a case for you. All right. You want the reviewer to be on your side, not against you. So please put in at least just one application, but Shanda, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add, like, because I saw one question and I didn't want us to miss it, but someone asked if they can apply to submit more than one application. We are not accepting more than one application. You're applying to one program, and that is an intentional activity that we want you to go through, because we want you to be intentional about the program that you're selecting as part of your application process. So if you submit application for MFRE and that application is complete and we don't consider you, but there's another application in there for MIF, we will not consider you for MIF. We will consider you for the first application, for the first complete application that you submitted. So you cannot submit multiple applications and expect that we will consider you for each of those. We're considering you for the first one only. So please make sure that you select one really strong application to the program that you're truly interested in.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shonda. So one quick question here. It says, what if your transcript is not ready at the time of application? Are you allowed to send in your most recent final exam results?
So and I'm guessing this is for those who would be done, who are still in their program and are waiting to finish, but they will be done by the time, they are coming for the program. So you can still send an unofficial transcript that has from, you are most likely in your final year. So from your first year to that last but one semester, you should send a transcript that shows all of those grades. Get an unofficial transcript from your school, but make sure that by the time you are if you are selected, by the time you're coming into your program, you have your official transcript ready. So make sure you have that transcript to support your application. Not just one exam results, everything from year 1 to that final year last semester.
All right, perfect. Yeah, someone is also asking if the recording is going to be available for those who joined a little later.
Yes, so we would be uploading a recording from our first info session, which is similar to this. We'll be uploading that later this week. And so if you go to the frequently asked questions, that would be available. But there would also be tips from program managers from Mastercard Foundation that you can use. There would also be some scholar tips that we've compiled also available. So leverage all those information. This recording might be put there, but it will be put there later on. And so we're hoping that the previous ones would be helpful for you in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
I see one question here and I don't want us to miss it. So I mentioned that every year for the next 9 more years, we'll be taking 39 scholars into the scholars program. And someone was asking whether there's a threshold for regional representation. It's open to everyone in Africa. We don't say, we want 5 from East Africa, 5 from West Africa. We look at the quality of the applications. And so if you have people back in your country in Zimbabwe and you want all of you to apply, tell them, let everyone apply, because it won't limit your chance of getting it. Sometimes the African mentality is, what if I tell someone about it and he gets and I don't get? It's not about how many people are applying from your country. The more, the merrier, So if you can share this information with others, come together, work on your applications together, do it. I remember when I was applying to school, there were 3 people with me. We were friends. We were sharing like scholarships, applying together. We all got different scholarships. We all ended up in different institutions, but it really helped me to, get a more robust application. So don't keep the information to yourself is what I'm saying. Share the information out with others.
All right. Thank you very much, Abby. I think that's the final question that was on the chat. I don't know if you have any final words, and then maybe Shonda could also share any final words, and then we can round up.
Final words, I would say all the best to everyone applying. As we have said, it makes sense to start early because then you have more chance to review, make sure that you are dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's. So please and please again, it's still about a month left or less than a month. Make sure to submit. Don't wait till the final day. I've seen this happen to so many people. Don't become part of my statistics. Please submit before October 31st because you might be in a different time zone. But other than that, All the things the scholars said today apply, all the things we've said. Your story is important. There are so many essays that I read and I'm like, it's the same story. Come on, guys, tell me something else. Think, and the more time you spend on some of these things, the better you get. Think, what would really make you stand out? Think through it, write, get people to review, speak to alum, review our page. Some people are asking us the same questions that we have answers on our page to. Get everything in and then submit your application. I wish everyone the best and I look forward to seeing you in Vancouver next year.
All right, thank you, Abby. Shanda, any departing words?
I have lots of departing words. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. So maybe just a couple of things is not to like go over everything that everybody has already said, but maybe just some quick tips in terms of I think now I've forgotten my important words. See, this is the thing. I had so much in my head that I wanted to say. Yeah, maybe I should have written that down. You know what? I should have. No, but seriously, on a very serious note though, check on our LinkedIn website, page if you want to connect with alum. I would definitely say, because I know lots of people have been asking, can we connect to the scholars that are in the programs now? The program is very intense. When you come to UBC, you will see that the intensity of it as well. And you will want to help your colleagues, your friends, your peer mates, but you will not be in a position to do so because you have so much stuff that you want to also be focused on in school, as well as the extracurricular things that we also provide as support. So what I would recommend right now is that you reach out on LinkedIn to alumni. There are lots. At UBC, we had 171 or so of them. So please reach out to alumni for a program that you might be interested in. A lot of them are very much open to supporting and helping. Please make sure that you do your due diligence. There's lots of information on our website. One thing I will say is I will discourage you from emailing our office to ask questions about can we help you with the application. The resounding response is going to be no, because we're not going to be able to give you preference over some other applicants. We are unable, right now our applications are over 2,500. We are expecting somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 applications. We will not be able to respond to everybody's email. So please take your time and do the research. Like all the applicants that were successful in this year's cohort, they really dug deep. And so please do it. Like you're all amazing individuals. Just because I think maybe it was Edwin that said it. Your first step to being here already is setting you apart from all the other applicants, because you're making the time for what's important for this process. So dig really, really deep. We're looking forward to reviewing your applications. We're looking forward to hopefully bringing some of you to UBC, connecting with you, learning more about you, and good luck. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Shanda. So I would like to, on behalf of Shanda, Abby, myself, and everyone from here at UBC, we'd like to thank everybody who attended today's session. I'm sure everybody must have learned a thing or two. Now it's time to act, right? So we are really looking forward to seeing your application and welcoming some of you to UBC. So thank you once again and have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you're joining us from.